Of BYU fans everywhere, happy October. It is Wednesday, the 1st of October. I am Spencer Linton. He is Jerem Jordan, and we genuinely hope you enjoyed an incredible tribute to President Russell M. Nelson that preceded today's BYU Sports Nation show.
We thank thee, O God, for a prophet. That was awesome. Truly an hour to enjoy music, the spirit, confirmation of living prophets again, which was awesome. What a life. We're going to really miss him. I liked when Elder Holland mentioned the only thing I wish he could have done that he didn't do was rededicate the Salt Lake Temple.
Yes.
And that I was reminded of, oh yeah, that's right. So what a life. What a great example of Christ-like leadership, and we're never going to forget him, man. My kids, I was telling them, like, hey, he passed away. We talked about it, and like that's the first prophet that's passed away in my two oldest kids' lifetime, and yeah, they'll remember him forever. So that was a wonderful hour to remember him. And there are other meetings, viewings, and funeral and so on and so forth that will happen. So we'll be thinking about him for a long time.
I love that Elder Holland added he'll have a much better view
yes, he will.
of that rededication of the Salt Lake
Yes,
Temple when it happens. And whoever does it better do it correctly.
Right. That was great. That was awesome.
Oh, you want to feel great. You dive into what that man meant to members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and how he lived his life. And I can't help but think back to our first Deep Blue that featured the Olmsteads, specifically Heather Olmstead and her twin sister, and how President Nelson was involved in saving their mom's life.
Performed surgery with a numb finger for hours and hours and hours on end. And if you haven't seen it, you need to go watch it. The story of that Deep Blue is incredible too, because Sherry Dew was at an event with the prophet, and she was watching on her phone when BYU was in the Elite Eight, and she said, "Oh, BYU." President Nelson said, "Oh, what are you watching?" She said, "Oh, BYU just won. They're going to the Final Four." He goes, "Oh, Heather, she's so great." And he goes, "Whoa, do you know Heather?" And he goes, "Well, I performed surgery on her mother at birthday." She's like, "What?" And Sherry was just finishing his biography, and was like, "Whoa, we need to put this in the book. This is an incredible story." And so that, Michael Dunn, former managing director here, said, this is going to be our Deep Blue pilot.
Amazing.
And now the Deep Blues have been, unbelievable since. They've been great.
We will be watching that at the Linton home tonight.
Yeah, it's a good one.
My kids will understand how he was involved in that specific story.
He saved a lot of lives, physically and spiritually.
Yes.
He touched hearts, as many have said, as a surgeon and as a prophet.
His attention to detail was noted several times during his tribute program. And in that Deep Blue, he pulls out his surgical records and finds the notes. Just incredible notes.
Yep.
Fascinating.
And I love when the apostles call their colleagues by a different name than we call them. Russell Nelson. To them, he's different, right? To those who know Jeffrey R. Holland, he's Elder Jeffrey R. Holland to us. He's Jeff Holland. I love those little nuances. They're great.
The great friendships, to say the least. Vibes are great, and we are certainly remembering Russell M. Nelson today. We're going to continue to do our program as well, and we have work to do.
I can get used to 11 a.m. local time. I'm just saying. The morning was a little more relaxed. It was pretty nice this morning. Just saying.
Production phone
programming
didn't happen as early.
Yes. Could we do this a little more often? This is awesome.
On that note, rise and shout. Should have plenty of energy. Let's get to what's trending.
The next 4 games are going to be crazy.
Back home on conference weekend, down to Tucson.
You have Utah. You have Texas Tech, you have a bye week, you have Iowa State, you have TCU.
Quite the stretch coming up.
There's a good chance BYU could be 5-6-0.
On to the next. What's trending? Presented by Tim Daly Nissan, part of the Tim Daly Auto Group, serving Utah since 1968. BYU football trying to get to 5-0 as they enter October. They are unbeaten through the first 4 games and survived Colorado to do that. As we turn the calendar, Jerem, into the month of October, I present the following question. What do the Cougars need to do in this month to remain squarely in the realistic hunt for a Big 12 title and title game appearance?
I don't think 2-2 would be good enough, so I'll say 3-1 or 4-0. I think if you're 2-2, you still have 2 games of significance coming up after that in the form of Texas Tech and TCU, Spence. I think that BYU needs to win the next 2, and they could drop one of the 2 after that. You hope it's not that third one with that team in crimson. But there's some tough games coming up. Arizona is better than we think. They're better than the team that BYU really took care of business against at home last year on big noon kickoff and everything. Utah still looks formidable despite the loss against Texas Tech at home. Iowa State is a tough team to beat on the road. They are super solid. They had never won 10-plus games till last year. They look like a team that's going to win 10-plus games for the foreseeable future with Rocco Becht at the helm. They look good.
And they're 5-0.
So, yeah, yeah, they're 5-0. Come on, it's hard to debate against that. So BYU is good. It's just how good. We're going to see. BYU should beat West Virginia. We believe they should beat Arizona, although that's a tricky road game.
It feels like a little like Colorado.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And then Utah's always a tough game, no matter what Utah is. Like, it took this incredible, 4th and hold, 44-yard field goal to beat a team that finished. Did they win 5 games or 4? I can't remember. It wasn't good for Utah, right? I don't even know.
I'm glad I don't even remember.
I don't really care. It wasn't a lot. It was 5. Okay, it was 5. It was tough, even though BYU ended up being an 11-2 team, right? It doesn't matter in that game. And then Iowa State's tough. So I don't think 2-2 is good enough to your question, which is to stay in the Big 12 title hunt. Certainly they could lose twice and be like, well, if they win out, odds are they're not going to win out with Texas Tech and TCU sitting there later. So I would say they need to go 3-1 in this month. It's very important.
Jerem, I'm going to go back to my original Nintendo days and point out that
talk to me.
There were always those checkpoints in certain adventure games that you had to get to so that you didn't have to start at the beginning of the level.
Amen.
Right? Yep. You just got to get to the checkpoint so that if you die.
Which games did you play?
Oh, man. I mean.
Favorites, top 3.
Well, I'm thinking of specifically probably Dungeons & Dragons, Castlevania, like all those adventure type games. Sonic, of course, had the checkpoints as well. That's on the Sega, but.
Yes.
The original Nintendo.
Gotta go fast.
Zelda.
Yeah.
Like,
nice.
You had checkpoints, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I pointed out, and I still feel strongly about these checkpoints for BYU football. If they are in their little video game storyline, I felt you had to be 5-1 through the first 6 games, and you had to be 7-2 through the first 9 games to feel like you realistically still have a shot to get to Arlington. So what does that mean for the month of October? I'm right in line with you. Probably 3-1. Because if you go 2-2 in the month of October, you're 6-2. Now you have to go to Texas Tech on November 8th and win to be 7-2 at that checkpoint.
And then you have to beat TCU at home. I mean,
that's a lot to ask.
That's a lot to ask. Yeah.
So for me, it's 3-1 in the month of October. If BYU is 7-1 coming out of this month, you can still afford to go to Lubbock, and you want BYU to win the game. But if they don't, they're still 7-2. Yes. And still should be in the mix if you can handle business against TCU, Cincinnati, and UCF to close out the season, and you go 10-2, and you're 7-2 in conference, and then we may be flipping coins again and doing tiebreakers and all that stuff.
Now I'm looking up that random website we used last year too. Well, if this team wins and this team wins, then what happens?
I did appreciate that website.
It was nice. I was hoping that it was accurate. You never know. But this month is very important. BYU is a good football team. We will find out how good they are, Spence. And if they are indeed a Big 12 title contender at the end, that will be even better than I thought they could be. Because I think they'll be probably, like the odds are, they're in the next group of we're 1 game out, we were 6-3 in league probably. We contended well. Look at how good we were with Bear Bachmeier in year 1. Next year, BYU walks in as a contender in the league. That's sort of where I think this is going. But if you ask the guys in the building, they are not in line with what I just said. They are in line with, nope, we beat West Virginia, and then we think about Arizona. We proceed 1 game at a time. But they feel like they can contend. Certainly, winning by 3 at Colorado doesn't scream contender in the Big 12. But winning does. Just win in any way imaginable. If the offense takes a big uptick, it will change my opinion a little bit. Because what we're seeing from some of these other teams is, especially Texas Tech, really explosive offense. That combination with a really good defense for BYU, that could make you a contender. But again, I'm going to give Bear time. I know we saw him get better, but I'm not expecting Heisman contender in the next game against West Virginia. We're going to give it a sec, right? And Bear is getting better. He's super smart. He's learning. He will make mistakes he has not made quite yet in the form of giveaways or a bad throw.
And there have been some close calls.
Right. And frankly, you got to be a little lucky not to turn it over in 4 games. You can be skilled, but you need luck too to not do that. So I'm still giving BYU the grace of they have a true freshman quarterback. Granted, he's shown to be really good so far, but this team is good. We'll see how good. in the next several weeks.
We showed you a graphic earlier about the Big 12 standings at the end of October in 2024. BYU was undefeated through October at 5-0 last year, or in the Big 12 standings, I should say. Colorado 4-1, Iowa State 4-1, Arizona State was 3-2, Jerem.
Yeah, we didn't know they weren't good yet. Or sorry, Arizona, I mean, but Arizona State.
They got on a heater last year.
Yeah, good point.
Okay, and won their last 4 to finish 7-2. So, again, we're not saying that if BYU does have 2 losses in conference at the end of October that all is lost. The road just gets a lot tougher because now you have to beat Texas Tech, TCU, and then go on the road, beat Cincinnati, and beat UCF.
I don't want to feel like BYU has to beat Texas Tech. That's a big ask.
Yes.
And if they do, great. But, you know, Iowa State and Utah, like chances are out of the 3 of those, you lose at least one. To go 3-0 through that, okay, now we're talking about a top 10 team in the country, Spence, with a true freshman. Now we're talking about all-time start under one of the youngest quarterbacks BYU's ever fielded. That's almost lunacy. I mean, the idea of that is wild. Beat West Virginia, keep going, but who knows? Maybe they will, man.
I mean, since 2000, what did we point out in the offseason? How many true freshman quarterbacks have led their teams to 10-win seasons? Since 2000, 4.
That's it.
4.
So it's a big ask. We're not asking for craziness. We're just asking, like, get better, continue to improve, that kind of thing.
3 of them played in the national championship game. So just throwing that out there, too.
Well. The initial report for BYU's game against West Virginia on Friday was released yesterday, so, 3 days before. Any concern with who's on the injury report this week for BYU? We see Cabea, Phillips, Moa, we expected, Che Bryant-Strother, questionable, Austin Leusa, probable, Isaiah Glasgow on the list.
What? No!
Tommy Prassis, Naki Tuakoi.
Yeah, I'm mostly being facetious when it comes to Glasgow. Like, yeah, he's a little big, but if he's
probably going to play.
If he's in the probable category,
it's better than questionable.
Yeah,
Leusa,
I'm not concerned.
Not
about
good.
That.
Leusa was seen in a sling after the game in pictures.
That hurts the offensive line depth for BYU.
Yeah.
Waylon Lapuaho is back now, so it almost kind of feels like a little bit of a trade-off of sorts there in the depth conversation of the offensive line. There's always concern when you still see a name like Sione Moa out. I mean, we've known that Che Bryant-Strother is out and JoJo's been out and Cabea's been out. You just hope that at some point BYU can get Moa back because I think, well, at least you and I and a lot of the analysts and insiders for BYU football felt his absence against Colorado.
They asked Bear to do a lot, and he was great. I don't know that is sustainable every single game, especially as the competition goes up. Which brings me to the idea of needing more guys like we've talked about. But first, here's Aaron Roderick, the offensive coordinator for the Cougars, talking about the shakeup with no Sione Moa out against West Virginia.
Enoch took most of the reps in the Colorado game. We're planning to get Joe Vessa and Preston in there as well, and I don't know exactly what shape that's going to take yet, but both of those guys we feel like are ready to play, and we trust them.
We will see more Enoch Nawahine, Jovessa Damuni, Preston Rex.
We thought we would see those guys against Colorado more.
We talked about it last week. They did put Preston in a formation at running back, but there was a false start, and then they didn't kind of use him again. They used Enoch. They handed off to Enoch one time. I believe he got a first down on a 4th down, so that was a big carry for 4 yards. But one of these guys, or the combination of them, need to emerge and take some of the heat off Bear. If Bear's running 13 to 15 times a game, that's bad for opposing defenses because he's good with his legs. But I don't know that is something that we actually want for the rest of the season, given the possibility of injury, the possibility of getting banged up, and so on and so forth. These guys play an important role now.
Jerem, that's never a good thing. As fun and as celebratory as the win for BYU was at Colorado, never good when Bear says after the interview to me, man, I need an ice bath or something. Because his body took a beating.
And he's strong. Like, he's one of the strongest runners BYU's had in terms of, like, what he is physically. So he can take it a little more than the average quarterback, but it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt.
I'd like to see, 4 or 5 fewer carries for Bear.
Yeah.
Than what he had against Colorado.
Like 7 or 8 timely carries. Maybe 5 designed runs and then 2 or 3 where he says, nope, nothing's there, I'm running.
And look, BYU needed to rely on him to beat Colorado.
That's
based
what
on
that
how
game
the
required.
game was playing out, everything that was being schemed up. it became clear that, okay, Bear is our best chance to win this game. We're going to rely on him.
Yes.
I'm with you. I hope that BYU and Aaron Roderick don't have to rely on him running as much. If you take away 4 or 5 of those carries and you can find some production from that group of running backs we just showed you, that should help. Now, Enoch Nawahine, it seems to me, is clearly trusted more than Jovessa Dumuni and Preston Rex because he's played in 23 games. And those guys have not played a ton of running back for BYU.
Preston literally was a safety and then switched to running back in camp.
So I think that they're going to default to Enoch Nawahine, and then we'll see. Maybe there's a change of pace back from Preston or Jovessa, who are a little quicker than Enoch, especially if it's a passing down or a third and longer.
But like, those guys have to block too. Like, the BYU running backs have to do it all. They're never like, well, you can only do this one thing. You have to do all those things. Catch the ball, run the ball, block. I hope BYU wins big, like the line is 20.5. I hope that happens so that these guys can get some non-resistant carries. It's not 3rd down and 3 where you have to have it down 7 in the 4th. I'd prefer not to have those situations quite yet, so that Jovessa, coming off a redshirt last year, and Preston, coming off a position change, can get some carries of importance. Enoch Nawahine had some real important carries, if we recall, against SMU last year. He's been in the fight a little bit. Plus, against ECU, he wants to hurdle people.
He's jumping dudes.
Jumping off guys' helmets. So that's fun. Somewhere Mason Wake's like, yeah, buddy. So I'm interested to see kind of what happens here. But these 3 collectively, or one of them, needs to replace some of that production. They won't wholly be Sione Moa, who's a good number 2. But we'll see what they produce Friday night.
Can they combine for the production that would be given to BYU football if Bear Bachmeier carried as many times as he did against Colorado? Like, if those 4 or 5 carries are taken away, can that group produce what BYU would lose? That is the balance.
Effective.
I know.
Colorado.
I know. Yeah. So I'm not going to be surprised if I see BYU do the exact same thing. If West Virginia schemes and is like, okay, well, we're going to make BYU beat us in other ways, like we'll let Bear run some more, like then that's probably what's going to happen. It's probably what's going to happen.
I didn't look. Did Dampier run a bunch last week? Was he? I watched a bunch of the game, but he was mostly sitting back and throwing.
Yeah, I know he was super efficient. And he had clean pockets.
Did they let him run around because that's his best strength? So.
Yeah, maybe they forced Bear to beat them with his arm.
Yeah, and Chase Roberts and Park Kingston and Cody Hagan. I
wouldn't hate that.
Carson Ryan's like, please.
We should note, by the way, that Jovessa Dumuni, Preston Rex, and Enoch Nawahine are listed in that order in the depth chart.
Which is interesting.
Nawahine is
got
4th.
More time if he's listed 4th. Okay. Moving on. The Big 12 reprimanded and fined Colorado $50,000 for the inappropriate cheers toward members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Deion Sanders shared an apology on behalf of Colorado as well. What did you make of that?
I am, in a strange way, grateful that Brett Yormark and the Big 12 took a stand on behalf of BYU. I think this has been happening far too often and is kind of just glossed over as, well, they have it coming. You know, they're weird. Like, I don't like that. And I know that things are very, very difficult, and the current culture with everything that has happened, it seems extra difficult at this point. So I'm grateful that Brett Yormark and the Big 12 took a stand and finally imposed like something that is official on behalf of BYU. Like I felt like, okay, maybe we will see a change because now there is an actual, like someone's doing something, not just, hey, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Someone's doing something.
I don't believe that those who cheered that represent the entire Colorado fan base.
No, of course not.
But we have seen this from many fan bases over and over time. USC in 21, Oregon as well, I believe in 22.
Arizona State, Arizona.
It's happened a lot. And frankly, if it was directed towards the school and not the religion, that makes it very different. I don't like it, the second one, either. But can you imagine if that happened towards other sects, other religions? That's not okay.
Nobody would stand for it.
In any form. So I appreciate the gesture by the Big 12. Let's just compete and love one another. And as I often say to my kids, don't make it mean and personal.
Amen to that.
Let's just have fun competing. You know, I don't like Utah, but it's not like that. It's like I want to compete against Utah. I love the competition. I love the brotherly nature of that. So let's do that. I appreciate those apologies. Yeah.
One of my favorite things to do on the road is to find the most loud group of students before the game of the opposing fan base and just talk with them. Talk about their team, talk about their schooling, and just try and connect with them.
Humanize.
Yes. Like, I root for BYU. You root for said team. But guess what?
Good luck tonight. Let's have fun.
We can do this and cheer for our teams.
Yep.
And if you want to boo or whatever, totally get that. But let's not make it personal. And so I don't know. And that's something that, you know, I tried to emulate from my dad. Like, he would just, opposition, he had this incredible superpower of like finding the opposition and then humanizing things and like totally deflecting that.
When you get to know someone, it's hard, you know, it's hard to be as mean.
Everyone's a monster until you meet them. Like, I know that's not true across all things.
In competing sports, it feels that way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. West Virginia, BYU. Excited to welcome the Mountaineers to Provo. Should be a lot of fun. BYU Sports Nation, game day and Cougar pregame live coming up 8:30 Eastern. By the way, BYU Sports Nation live from the stadium.
Let's go!
Because Friday, love that, BYUtv, BYU Radio pregame, game on ESPN, BYU Radio, and of course, postgame coverage live on BYUtv and BYU Radio right after.
It's going to be a late night, but we can wake up in our pajamas.
Heck yeah, man. Get ready for conference?
Get ready
Let's
for
go,
General
baby.
Conference. Up next, the voice of the Cougars, Greg Wrubell, joins us. What has impressed him the most about BYU football so far this season? And what does he expect against the Mountaineers on Friday? This is BYUSN.